Welcome to the Black Beat Podcast. My name is John Washington, and I'm the CEO and editor-in-chief of Flossin Media, and I'll be your host today. Where we're always and where we never, and we don't really care, we just take an unapologetically Black approach to profiles. The people and stories are significant in advancing the connectivity of our community. Today, we are honored to introduce Elijah J. Friday. He is the president and CEO of Aging with Support, Inc., a nonprofit organization in the state of Oregon that was established to provide community outreach and raise awareness to healthcare challenges faced by aging adults. The organization provides invaluable information and systems to help older individuals receive benefits without barriers through their CEP, Communicate, Educate, and Participate program, and serves as an advocate for all aging adults in any type of living environment through their multifaceted services. Welcome, Elijah. Elijah, today we'd like to tell the world a little bit about what you do. Tell us a little bit about your background, Elijah. You know, things like your personal background, your education, your work experience, those types of things. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Okay, well, my story starts about 15 years ago when my mother had a stroke. Long story short, I was her caregiver for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, I could see as I'm her caregiver, I'm developing these skills, and I could see where there was a lot of gaps in the healthcare system for, you know, aging and disability individuals. So that's how Aging with Support came to. A little bit, my education, I have a bachelor's in kinesiology and a master's in public health. I'm also a certified gerontologist.
Tell us a little bit about a gerontologist, Elijah. What is that? What is that?
Well,
You make food? You're a sociologist or something like that? What does that mean? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's just the study of aging adults.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what drew you into that, man? I mean, I know you was taking care of your mom, but was that what sparked it for you? That you just
Well,
something became aware, you just, you know, something just popped out at you and said, damn, there's the thing. I see this. Let me go rectify this. Let me go deal with this.
right.
What was it?
Well, I was always wanting to be in the healthcare field. And originally I had went to school to become a physical therapist. But you know, that didn't happen. And then, you know, I was put on a different trajectory where, you know, I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver for my mom. I'm the only child. And just that learning experience just guided me towards the aging and disability side of everything. And I could apply my kinesiology degree to it. I got a master's in public health because that's such a broad field. So yeah, I just started leaning towards that just because of the life experience that I've had.
Right on. Well, what was it about, you know, taking care of your family, your mom, and that kind of stuff? What was it that jumped out at that you saw was a need? What was that moment? Tell us a little bit about that moment that you became aware of something that you needed to get after.
Well, and that's why I implemented my SEP program, Communicate, Educate, and Participate, just because there's a lack of communications between doctors and patients, and having the patients get the best care for themselves. There's a lot of low health literacy among individuals, especially aging individuals. And I saw a lot of that. That was my biggest concern for my mother. So I would always be present, be there, make sure I had the knowledge to help her as well.
So you just felt like it was just something you needed to do to get out in front of, because you saw that your mom and you see that aging adults are vulnerable? Is that just,
Absolutely.
that they're vulnerable for people to take advantage of, and that they begin, some of their bases begin to diminish. And as a result of that, it's more like they just need some protectors. They need someone there looking over them and taking charge of their affairs to some degree, so that like more like an advocate on their behalf. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, an advocate. Absolutely. It's very
So,
important to advocate, especially for, vulnerable individuals, as you mentioned, who may not understand, about their health, as their health starts to decline. It's very important that they're involved and know exactly what's going on, and that will better serve them and meet their needs as well.
so how long has your organization been around, man?
Not long. It'll be 2 years in February.
2 years in February. And
Yeah.
are you a nonprofit or a for-profit organization?
We're a nonprofit
You're a
organization.
nonprofit. Wow. And you set up here in Oregon. And so tell us a little bit about the services that you offer, man. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we offer services such as Medicare, Medicaid setup, or assistance in maybe finding a plan that suitable for that individual. Also, we do transportation setup where we help disabled individuals make sure they get to their medical appointments and everything. And also, we do adaptive equipment solutions where, and that's another program that we have implemented into the organization called Benefits Without Barriers. But basically, adaptive solutions where we can get them adaptive equipment, so that they can utilize that, and that would better help them as well. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What's your brother? You got brothers and sisters, man? Elijah?
Half.
Have what they think about your endeavor? What have you, when they look at you doing this, do they say, "Wow, man, you might have bitten off more than you could chew"? Or what are they saying? Are they saying, "Damn, man, you're a hell of
um,
a fella, man, for doing all this"?
yeah. Well, I've always been a go getter. So, I mean, that's pretty much what we say Friday means. The last name Friday means go getter. So,
Oh, you ain't the midnight man, huh?
yeah.
You the Friday man. All right, my brother, you go get her. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
yeah,
like the fact that
yeah,
you go
yeah.
get
So
her.
they're not surprised.
Right on,
Yeah,
man. And
yeah.
I'm and neither am I, man. I'm so glad to see young African American men decide to get up and get after it. And that's my mantra in life also, and it has been. And so, man, but and as I'm getting up in age myself, man, it's good to hear that this type of consciousness is available out there, man, because that's some of my concerns too, man. I mean, I live alone. I'm getting up in age. I have things. I'm moving around. I got some health needs and this and that. So it's important that and then as I get older, I've developed this sickness and disease called sometimers. You know, uh, Sometimes I remember some shit, and sometimes I don't.
Right.
Today was one of them days I remember some shit, Elijah. You just sit in front of me. I need a few advocates to get me going to where I need to be going, but damn,
Yeah.
it's good. But tell me, Elijah, all joking and kidding aside, what do you see are some of the greatest challenges facing our aging adults today, man? I mean, what are you starting to observe? There's some of those real tangibles that you can give me some examples of that you're starting to recognizing as some manifestations going on in aging adults today.
Well, overall, just aging successfully. Um, People or aging adults not having those resources to age successfully, and that's what we're here for. As you know, Alzheimer's is very prevalent in the aging community, and yeah, just trying to focus on diseases like that, um, to try to mitigate them, so they can age successfully. That's my biggest thing is just having people age successfully without a caregiver. You know, those are some examples, and just being more independent, and yeah, and living
Well, so how
a
do you
good,
set
healthy
that?
life.
So how do you set that pathway, Elijah? I mean, what is it? Because I remember hearing TD Jake say some things a while back. He say about us. He say young people don't prepare to get old, and old people don't prepare to die. You know, and so there's a preparation that goes on. There's a consciousness. Is that what you're working on? The consciousness about the transition, or are you actually providing some type of tangible that you can give as a textbook or as a classroom or as a training as as a structure, as a construct that is around them? What is that thing you have that you find that is unique and that is
Uh,
important?
right. So we, both pretty much. I mean, we provide those resources and tools, but on the other hand, we are hands-on as well through our programs. I feel like those are life-changing. For some people, um, they gain the knowledge, and I think that's pretty much that's pretty much it. I find that being hands-on, it makes all the difference.
Okay, so Elijah, take me through this experience just for a brief moment. Okay, work with me a second. I'm a person that shows up. Here I am, an aging adult,
Mhm,
and I'm in need. Take me through a
mhm.
process that when I show up at your doorstep, where am I going? What's next on my on my journey here?
Well, first we have to find out what your goals are, what your need is, and what your goal is to address that need. And then, if we can help you with the services that we provide, then we will. So, say you need help with getting a Medicaid care plan, we can do that for you, and we can find out, your medical history, and see what's the appropriate one for you. Because a lot of times, older adults, are paying more than what they need to be paying with the supplemental insurance, and the older you get, the more it is for your premium. So, I mean, I had clients, that was an example of a client that I had in the past who
Mm.
was overpaying. And, just things like that, that you shouldn't have to worry about. That also helps with the transition of aging. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So how you guys been affected in this climate, man? I mean, with all that's going on right now, man. Elijah, how is it affecting y'all? Or have you been affected? Has your business been affected while under this environment that we're in right now?
Oh, yeah. Definitely operations have been curtailed um, significantly. But just because we're working with a vulnerable population, it's hard to do some of the outreach that we like to do, the events, get ourselves more known. And our volunteers, we've had to get PPE for them to protect them and our clients. So, yeah, and then we're not able to do a lot of the classes that we want to do to help with aging, such as exercise classes and programs that we like to do. Yeah, so it's affected us a lot in a lot of ways.
In your background and your experience, man. I mean, because like I said in the beginning, Black Beat is unapologetically black. And it's real in the realization of that consciousness, man. I mean, do you believe race plays a part in the type of care people, aging adults, receive in this country?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that goes for any age, but yeah, it does play a role that shouldn't be there, but it is there. Absolutely. I mean, doctors already have their biases, already have their studies that they learned in the classroom about, African Americans or Hispanics, whoever, the predisposable diseases. or so they already have that, and they're not really, sometimes that kind of creates a barrier for the best healthcare that that individual could receive.
Wow. Elijah, you're starting to get my curiosity now, man, because you're a young fella, man. You're real conscious about some of these things, man. What is your take on some of this stuff as you perceive it in our society today? What, as a young black man, going into business, doing those things, do you find that you're somehow or another experiencing? Tell me a little bit about your experience in this environment, man. For you personally, as a black man, what's
With
it been
my
like?
non
No,
with my nonprofit.
with the pandemic and with the race and unrest that's going on right now. And how you handling all this? What's it like for you? Tell me about your
Um,
experience.
yeah, you know, for me, I mean, I am handling well. I've always been aware of it, of the racism. I'm just happy that it's finally being acknowledged. That it's people try to cover it up or whatever, but I'm glad that it's getting out there. People are knowing, and I'm hoping that there will be changes to come later on down the road. But yeah, yeah,
So
I
so yeah, so,
definitely,
so you remain consciously optimistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, what can you do? you know,
Well, hopefully, man, I'm deferring that back to you. I done fought this fight for a little while. The question is, what you
yeah,
gonna do? How
yeah,
you gonna
yeah.
do it? How you gonna help
I
us
mean,
get a little closer?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
know,
I'm gonna
I
step
know.
up to you, Elijah, and I'm gonna come find your organization here in about another 5 to 10 years. I'm gonna say, Elijah, help me. I ain't got no welfare, no social care, no nothing. Help me find my way. I need a place to live. Even, do you help people also assist them with living conditions and
yeah,
all that kind of stuff too? Wow,
yeah,
wow.
absolutely. Yeah,
So you
yeah.
taking
We
that big enchilada and you trying to raise that whole big picture around aging adults.
right, absolutely.
And are you
Yeah,
finding
there's a need.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And are you finding it that our society and our state and and the people who work in the arena with aging adults, are you finding your services being received well, or optimistic? People are optimistic about them and embracing them. Or tell us a little bit about that experience.
Absolutely, yes. People are definitely embracing it. Like I said, we're hands on, and that's a lot of times people don't get that. Especially older adults who are independent, live by themselves, live on their own, and maybe sometimes family members are just not there to assist them. So we're we're hands on, and that's greatly appreciated. We also, what we do is we send out surveys to see how we did, and we always get great feedback. Yeah, and of course we can always improve, but we're learning as we go.
So you actually got case managers and you keep active files and milieus on your clients and are you a part of a larger consortium or a continuum of care? I happen to be a clinician, man, for over 15 years of my life, so I've worked in the mental health
Okay.
fields. I've also owned some care homes around the state of Oregon over the years. And so I am familiar a little bit about what you're talking about. But the construct, I'm really fascinated with so broad the construct could have to be. So you're telling me you're employing outreach workers and case managers, and you have a running database system that allows you to be be a part of a continuum of care for aging adults?
Absolutely, yes,
Right on, man.
yeah,
Right on.
yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
And how
We're
many, go
mhm.
ahead. How many
I was going to
clients are
say,
you? Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, we have mostly uh, great, exceptional volunteers. Um, so that's mostly what we're, people who just have the same experiences I have, or come from backgrounds where they know this is a need. They see the gaps in the healthcare system. So we have excellent volunteers uh, who have helped us stepped up to the plate.
So do you employ people also? How many employees do you have an employee?
Um, yeah, right. So we feel like the cause is more important. So No, we mostly do volunteers, and I've got a couple of employees, but other than that, they're mostly volunteers.
Right
Yeah,
on.
we
So
would
that
we would like to put funding towards the cause, towards the clients. So
right
yeah,
on, man.
that's,
Right on. And in light of the fact that you might have had a hard go of it over the almost the last year, man.
mhm.
Um, what about the CARES Act? Did your business apply for the CARES Act itself?
Oh, absolutely, yes, we did. And we put those funds towards PP, like I mentioned. We were able to put some in for wages and in programs, so it helped us out a lot.
Right on, man. And so in some of those, were you happy to see how that came about? Would and how'd you find out about it, man? How'd you get alerted to the fact that the Oregon CARES Act was available and around to you?
Actually, my my wife and I, we were watching the news one day, and we we saw it, and I just kept keeping tabs on it. I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
We fought the good fight in the beginning up front. We all came together, man, and that was
Oh,
another one of
appreciate
those moments when that unapologetically black part of this came in. Because
it.
because with every other place, they always want to couple you with something or make you be a
Right.
part of something, but we just felt like it was just about that time for us to start taking care of ourselves, you know
Absolutely, I agree.
and man, much respect to you, because right along this line, this is I'm starting, as I've interviewed you, man, I'm starting to feel more of the passion of what it is that you do and how significant it can become and how significant it is right now. And that is that black people don't receive the aging care that is a lot of times it's left up to their families and people. It's more of a community type of thing, man, for us, but it's not organized in that community effort. It's not anybody keeping case management on Mr. Cooper down the street, or Mr. Williams over across the block, or Ellen. We tend to see our aging people, but we don't know what they need. We don't know if
Right,
they suffering or what. All we know is that
right.
they've been there forever, and that and so I have a great respect for what it is that you're doing, man. And what do you see as some of your challenges as you move forward, man? How do you, if you had to invite the community into what it is that you're doing, what would be some of those things you would like to request from the community at this point?
Um, just more propaganda. We need to expand our clientele. We need to get out there. We This is something that all communities need to know, because everybody has an older adult, or knows an older adult in their life, or is an older adult, and it's just important that it does take a community, and that's what we need. We just need the support, so we can expand.
What is your feelings about the CV-19, the COVID virus at this point in time in our environment, man? How do you feel about that? Or what are your thoughts about COVID in our society today? Do you think it's real, not real? What are your thoughts?
Well, having a public health background, I know it's real. Um, um, how the U.S. has been handling the issue, I am disappointed. Um, but yeah, it's something that definitely needs to be addressed and taken seriously. Um, but I just read an article this morning that we got some people vaccinated. We got some some yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
we got
yeah.
some of the vaccinations come in, and
Right.
some of the healthcare frontline workers
Mhm.
got vaccinated today. So I'm excited to see how that turns out,
Cool,
how that
cool.
pans out. Yeah.
Elijah, so where you going from here, man? I mean, as you put your footprint in the dirt, in this effort, I mean, this young man sitting here in front of me today, where you going, man? What's your next stop? Are you headed someplace? I mean, in terms of
Uh,
your career?
mhm. Um, this is this I just wanted this to grow. I want this to be known not just in Oregon, but everywhere that's needed. We, want to put in more. So we want to build a transportation, non-emergency medical transportation subsidiary that goes along with the nonprofit to help out more people. So yeah, what we want to do is just grow. And for me, I just want to keep learning and yeah, keep going.
Yeah, Elijah, you got your hands on a prize hog right about now, and I would suggest you protect it, man, and take it. Hey, man, if you had if you got a platform to shout out to a bunch of senior people today in this lifetime, man, what would you share with them? What would you say to elderly people today if they were listening to this communication between you and I? What would you shout out to them?
Um, I would say to them that age ain't nothing but a number, for one thing.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
you know, you know.
Yeah, and people are, I really want to go. I really want to say about my mission statement because we really that Aging with Support really really strives for that mission statement, which is that we are here advocating for older adults and providing them with the healthcare resources and tools that they need. And I feel like that's very important. I want all the seniors, if they're listening today, to know that, and that we're here for you any way, shape, or form.
Is there a cost to get involved with what you're doing? I mean, as far as the elderly people, do they have to extend any kind of payment or anything to you to be a part of your organization?
No, no. It's all grant funded nonprofit. So no, they don't have to worry about any paying any fees.
And with some of my friends was looking with decent sized checkbooks, what would you want? What kind of support do you need from the community, man?
Just going back and having the community acknowledge that that this is a need, and that building partnerships and having stakeholders is very important, and the community is part of that.
Yeah, man. Off the record, I think that you ought to tap into the Seoul District Business Association. They would be some people that I would really strongly recommend you get your contact information together with. And there are several other organizations that we should be referring to you, and you being a part of some consortiums. I would like to also see your organization connect with the food from the field to the table resources that are out there, because I think that your program has a lot more, um, you know, legs to it than I think that you're not conscious of, or you conscious of. And I understand the slow build, but I still think that there could be some deliberate intent there, and there's a lot of lack of connectivity. But once you have identified the reality factors of what the need is, then you can start connecting those dots to that need, and that's going to be a real big important one. And there are a lot of opportunities out there, because we need to eat, we need to have housing, and there's 100 of those types of things that are out there that we are functioning with on a daily basis, that I believe that they should be tapped into you, and you should be tapped into them. So
Right.
the Seoul District Business Association, and what was that? There was one other question that I wanted to ask you. That What have you learned as an organizational leader about business? And are you statewide in your business efforts?
No, we're not statewide. We serve 5 counties: Marion, Polk, Lincoln, Yamhill, and Tillamook.
Wow.
And yeah, and we are solely, we're not solely, but we focus more on the rural areas, the ones that don't have the accessibility as someone else would living in a different area. So yeah, what I've learned about business is I'm still learning for one thing. But you know, just making clients happy, you know, that's I believe that's the most important thing, you know, reputation. Um, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the most important thing that I've learned about business.
Well, Elijah, as I stated earlier, this has been a real opportunity for me and an honor to meet you, young man. It really has been, and I applaud your effort and where your focus is. And I would love, as a business owner and a few other things, hats that I wear over the years, I'd love to be a part of what your efforts are and see of how I can make some contribution to it, because I think it's an admirable cause. And I also think that it's it's important for us to be some of those original trail setters, whatever that is. But one of the things that I've learned over the years of being that person is that a lot of times we seem to lay down the road or the pathway to getting to where we go, but yet we did not buy any of the real estate ourselves. In other words, we didn't put a building up on the road that we
Right,
blazed through there, and then
right.
somebody else come back through there and put the houses up, the community, and all that.
Yeah,
So they get the benefit of the road and the effort that you did. So it's always
right,
important for you
right.
to put a stake in the ground as you're moving. At least claim the most valuable asset in the road on the roadway. For yourself and your organization as you're moving through. So, but I look forward to talking to you a little bit more about that, Elijah, and with this week's podcast, I am honored to say that, Elijah, your program is ranking up there as one of the higher, more important ones of our time today. And I applaud you for seeing that pathway and investing in it. And do praise to your mom and Yahweh. You hear? And so, as a respect, that concludes our podcast this afternoon. And is there any last minute thoughts you might have that you might want to throw out there to our listening base at this point in time as to what you might have gleaned through this interview as hindsight now that you might want to go back and make some clarification of?
Um, I want to thank you for having me, and yeah, just you can find us on Google at Aging with Support, and yeah, yeah, we're here for you. We're here for everyone. We're here for the older adults, you know, caregivers, family members. So look us up, and we're here to help you.
Much respect to you, Elijah. And again, this afternoon. And that concludes our podcast for this afternoon. And you have a good afternoon and have a Merry Christmas, Elijah. And it was, again, it was a pleasure to have some time to speak with you. You hear?
Here. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Respect,
Take
young
care.
man. Yes, you too.